He is our president. He told us that he believes he has the commitment to get this done in the Senate.
President Joe Biden's Build Back Better spending bill is now dead, or essentially dead, as I'll get to. So I'll get to why this happened, how the Progressive Caucus, the leadership, failed by trusting Joe Biden in allowing this to go as far as it went, and everything in between. So there is, this story, I guess, maybe would have been a little more surprising a few months ago, but it's not surprising today. I predicted this back in a video at the end of November. Once this vote happened, once the Progressive Caucus decided to cave and support the bipartisan infrastructure bill, it was over. So the squad did the right thing, 6 votes against the infrastructure bill, understanding that once they gave their leverage up, that was it. Like, that was the leverage they had. They understood. This is why they held out so long. They understood that if they voted for the infrastructure package, then there would be no vote or a completely cut down budget bill. But Progressive Caucus gave in, trusting Joe Biden in the process. And I'll get to more on that in a second. But first, so initially, the budget bill was fantastic at $3.5 trillion. It had a child tax benefit, universal pre-K, paid family medical leave, tuition-free community college, lower prescription drug costs, dental, hearing, vision, Medicare expansion, housing, home care, major climate money, immigration, lower Medicare age, Obamacare expansion, taxing the rich, taxing corporations, fees on polluters, Medicare negotiations. I mean, it was packed. It was eventually cut down to $1.75 trillion, to a honestly terrible bill, but it still had an extension of the child tax credit, which is going to run out very shortly, universal pre-K, and lower prescription drug costs for some prescription drugs. So it still had something in it. But now it's likely never, at any point, going to get passed. So this news from Jesse Rodriguez here, saying from NBC News, Senate expected to shelve Build Back Better bill, moving forward aggressively now on voting rights. More here from NBC. Democrats in the Senate are preparing to miss their self-imposed deadline to pass President Joe Biden's $1.7 trillion social safety net bill before the end of the year, according to 4 sources familiar with planning by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's office. The decision to try again next year is based on simple math. Schumer doesn't have the 50 votes needed to pass the legislation thanks to Joe Manchin, who remains a holdout. Schumer is instead hoping to take action on voting rights that has stalled in the chamber, multiple sources said. That legislation, which failed to get any Republican support and therefore could not clear the needed 60-vote threshold. Senate Democrats are discussing changing the rules to allow for passage on a 50-vote majority, a move that remains uncertain. A group of 4 moderate Democrats, including Manchin, have held numerous meetings in the past several days to discuss a possible rule change. Additional meetings are planned for Wednesday. First, because I can't help myself, they have to freaking stop calling these people moderates. They are conservatives. Joe Manchin is single-handedly right now, apparently the only one, holding up the budget bill. Yet the plan now is to move forward on voting rights that need 60 votes. Now, yes, voting rights is incredibly important, should have been done already. But how do you expect to go from a discussion about a bill where you need 50 votes, the budget bill, to a bill where you need 60 votes? Now, I guess they're trying to change that, but Manchin has said, if you read this article, Manchin goes on to say that he's not going to support lowering the 60-vote threshold unless he gets bipartisan support to do so. So he wants Republican support to cut out Republicans in a vote on voting rights. How are you going to get that? Manchin is playing games. He is a Republican. There's no, how can you possibly consider him to be a Democrat when he is obstructing everything Democrats are trying to get done? It's unbelievable. But this goes to the failure of Joe Biden. You have the ability. He had the ability to put pressure on Joe Manchin, be it with his daughter and the EpiPen scandal that she's involved in, be it himself with his conflicts of interest when it comes to coal and voting on climate change legislation. There are a number of ways where Joe Biden could have put pressure on Manchin and decided not to do so, either because he is afraid or doesn't care, or a combination of the two. Ultimately, though, Joe Biden, incredibly weak when it comes to actually fighting his own members to get something done. Just an incredibly horrible leader and terribly weak president. Now, let's get to more on Manchin here. So Manu Raju here tweeting out, talks between Manchin and Biden are not going well on Build Back Better, per source familiar with talks. A huge sticking point, the child tax credit. Manchin wants it cut. Source says he wants to zero it out. They are very far apart, source says. I just got to stop here for a second. You're calling this guy a moderate. Manchin, who supports child poverty, Joe Manchin actively supporting child poverty, a moderate position. Are you out of your damn minds? At what point are you going to stop calling these people moderates? These are far-right conservatives. If you are pro-child poverty, you're a far-right conservative. He goes on here, saying strong Democratic pushback to Manchin's demands to cut the child tax credit. Quote, it's not going to get zeroed out, says Senator Sherrod Brown. Told me that's non-negotiable. Elizabeth Warren said we need the child tax credit that has cut childhood poverty in America by nearly half. So this is one of the few things that has actually really helped people recently is the child tax credit, which is going to run out shortly, needs to get put into this bill and passed. But just on a purely, if all you care about as a Democratic politician is winning, you win by helping people. You're going to lose by letting the child tax credit run out. This, again, goes to showing you why Joe Manchin is a Republican. He's not stupid. He understands this, but he is fine if he plays these games with Republicans. So West Virginia, a very conservative state, he'll likely lose anyways in his next election. But he's going to try and be as conservative as possible simply to keep his seat. But he understands that Democrats need to do something to help people, and that if this runs out, it's going to hurt the ability to get voters out to vote for them. Manchin knows this and does not care, let alone caring about the actual children at the heart of this issue. Now, this also goes to why it was so goddamn dumb to vote for the infrastructure package in the House. From Sludge here, talks between Manchin and Biden on the Build Back Better Act have soured per reports. Manchin already got what he wanted in the infrastructure bill, including provisions boosting the waste coal industry from which his family company earns millions. So there's more on that in Sludge, a great outlet here, by the way. Sludge, Common Dreams, American Prospect, Daily Poster, all websites that are worth going to frequently to really know what is going on behind the scenes in Washington. But yeah, this is why it was so dumb to support the infrastructure bill. Because why would Joe Manchin care to support the budget bill if this bill was passed first? They gave up all their leverage. And this goes now to Jayapal. Jayapal tweeted this out. So to be clear, Jayapal, chair of the Progressive Caucus, tweeted this out last night, saying nearly 2 in 3 voters support Build Back Better, which is true. Enough with the delays. Let's get this done and deliver for working people. Less than 12 hours later, or about 12 hours later, the bill was killed. Either she really has no idea what is going on, or is just, trying to fool all of us by pretending she actually cares. Because this is what she said back in on October 28th. Once they decided to support a vote on the infrastructure package before getting the Build Back Better spending bill, this is what Jayapal said to reporters.
We are not asking for it to be passed in the Senate, and this is really, this is a tip of the hat to the president. He is our president. He told us that he believes he has the commitment to get this done in the Senate, and we are going to believe the president of the United States.
Oh, you're going to believe the president. Tip of the hat to the president. How did that work out? You failed. Your strategy failed. Now, at this point, you have to come out as chair of the Progressive Caucus and admit that you were wrong. You were wrong to trust the president. Your strategy completely failed, and somebody else should be in your place, in that leadership position. Jayapal, Mark Pocan, Ro Khanna, all were wrong. I don't know how this bill is going to get passed. It's dead this year for sure. They say they're going to revisit it next year at some point. Really? Are you? At that point, is Manchin going to then support a child tax credit? I don't think so. Why would he? It's not going to happen. So that's it. Democrats have screwed their chance at the midterms. Biden's still not willing to cancel any student debt, which he can do through executive order, as I've covered before in the past. He can cancel all student debt, but he won't even cancel a little bit for everybody. There's been a bit canceled for those that went to private colleges. I've covered that in the past, but in terms of any real substantial cut to student loan debt, he's not willing to do it, even though he has the power to do it as the president. As one person, he can do it. Nothing. You're offering people nothing, especially you voters that you need to come out and vote for you, those ones that are disillusioned, younger voters especially. You're doing absolutely nothing for them. How do you expect to win? You're not going to win. You're going to lose the midterms, and at that point, there's no chance of getting anything done over those next 2 years until 2024. They're screwing themselves now by doing absolutely nothing, and the Progressive Caucus also deserves blame here for trusting Joe Biden.